Lori, thank you for bringing that big issue to the fore. We may talk a little bit more about it, but I want to bring another topic, another question here. Jerry from Prior Lake. Why did the legislature stop the bill to remove the criminal prohibition on adult use of marijuana? It's popular across all political stripes among Minnesotans.
Well,
excellent question.
Jerry, I really appreciate the question. And I don't serve on civil law. I'm not familiar with that provision. So
it got a lot of publicity early in the session. A lot of
I wrote the bill.
But in the news, it was there a lot, and then it kind of went away.
Well, it was there a lot because people are talking about it, and the public's opinion on marijuana has changed dramatically. 9 states and D.C. currently, 8 states and D.C. currently have approved the recreational use of marijuana. In Colorado, which is a state of similar size and demographics to Minnesota, it's been a incredible, tremendous, in the words of Donald Trump, tremendous success. It's been huge benefits, not just economic benefits, but everything. I mean, the unemployment is the lowest that the state's ever had. The real estate prices, both commercial and residential, are rising faster than any other place. Violent crime is coming down, and it's all because of this
So what
proposal.
happened this session?
Well, the Republicans won't hear it. Tony, Michelle, maybe you can correct me. Everyone on the Republican side of the aisle wants to talk about freedom and liberty and personal responsibility, except when it comes to what people can do in the privacy of their own homes. So they weren't interested in hearing it. Despite 60% of all Americans being in favor of it, they won't hear it. So that's why the coverage went away. But it's going to keep coming, and it's going to happen whether people at this table like it or not. So I think, and the reason I wanted to start the conversation is to craft a sound policy that can get everyone on board, because it's going to happen. So let's do it safely. Let's do it in a way where everyone can benefit. And we can pay for schools. We can fund roads. There's countless things. And also, Republicans want to talk about criminal justice and prison population and this. So many people are in our prison system because of nonviolent drug offenses. Well, this would solve that issue too and allow law enforcement to focus on actually violent crime, and it could lead to countless benefits for everyone. And sure, there are some costs, but the benefits far exceed it, in my opinion, and in the opinion of 60% of all Americans.
What happened this session with it?
Well, Minnesota implemented medical marijuana just a few years ago. We're having some stumbling with that, and so until we get that in place, I think we need to make sure we're doing that correctly. And I don't think all of the economic growth in Colorado can be attributed to legalization of marijuana. They have a booming software industry, just like Austin and Salt Lake City do. And so I think there might be more going on in Colorado than just legalization. And we haven't seen the full social impact yet. We haven't had a long enough cycle to see what's happening to their Health and Human Services costs. People not being able to work because there are employers who will not let you drive a forklift if you are consuming marijuana. There are employers who will not let you run a CNC machine if you're consuming marijuana.
And for good reason.
And so it's not a panacea, and it's going to take a lot more understanding, I think, of what's going on in Colorado than we have right now.
We know the warehouse space in Colorado is virtually, you can't, if you're going to have a business and you want to expand in Colorado, forget it, the warehouse space is already, because the growers are all inside, and, get your Excel Energy points. You should be, investing in the utility industry over there. As it's moving up. I did see a report just today or yesterday on, there was a study that was done on folks with anxiety and depression. You might, I don't know where one of the not the Mayo Clinic, but it was a Medline report that did that, and showed there was a 72% decrease in the use of the narcotics that are utilized, that from a pharmaceutical company in the aspect of using the medical marijuana in the sense, but not in the sense that we have it in Minnesota, where it's the pill form or in the form. So I mean, there's still some benefit out there for that. I think that was interesting when you brought it up, John. I mean, it was like, whoa, the discussion is now at the table. Let's have the discussion kind of thing.
Intractable pain, PTSD, not chronic pain, intractable pain,
Yep.
PTSD. There's a growing body of evidence that they're better treated with marijuana and some of its derivatives. And so this isn't a slammed door. This
No.
is we've got a lot to learn, and let's be thoughtful.
Here we go.
Well, it was from Prior Lake, so we should let the Prior Lake.
I asked you first.
we were all looking at us.
I'm happy to respond. No, I think I was one, actually, that signed on to the medical cannabis bill. It probably shocked a lot of people in my own caucus
I did
that I
too.
was willing to take that on. But, I think that, having traveled abroad and seen the use of other means of health care, cannabis, and sometimes I think this whole notion of the word marijuana gets you off track. We're talking about medical cannabis, which is not marijuana. I think there's a key differentiation there, and the way that we crafted it, along with Representative Moline, was very careful and very pragmatic and thoughtful to make sure that no one who could construe it as a gateway drug could. And I think that's imperative as legislators, that we don't enable someone to pick up a habit that is addictive in nature and leads to other more deleterious actions on their part. To the point that Senator Benson talked about just employment alone. That's a big, big issue in terms of safety for not only yourself but your fellow coworkers. I can only imagine if you're entering keystrokes on a secure line and you make a mistake and you send hundreds of records down into the bin. So those types of issues have got to be brought up. I think that the conversation has been broached as the representative has done so, but I think that there's just a lot more that needs to be addressed in terms of working groups. Certainly encourage the representative to take the summer months and go on a walking tour around the state to find out if he says 60% of Americans are in favor of, but are 60% of Minnesotans in favor of, given some of the factual information that you could derive from Colorado and other places where, the energy industry alone has probably supported 60% of the boom in their growth in the last 3 or 4 years. So I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that cannabis or marijuana, in that case, recreational otherwise, has promoted, the building of schools and whatnot. So.
See, I remember when I was first elected, the Sunday liquor sales, it was like, nope, not going to do it, not going to happen, not
For
going to happen.
years.
For years, right?
Decades.
And all of a sudden, you get enough new members that are younger than the three of us over here, the millennial generation, right? And all of a sudden, boom, 1 year, it's like, there it is, Sunday liquor sales are here, right, Michelle? It was
Actually, it was just one Democratic senator that stopped it the last however many years it was, so I will not take his name, I will not raise his name, but
But it was interesting. It was
One
not
guy.
even. It was not even a debate this year. I mean, you had the new folks
Well-
coming in were like, "What's the deal with Sunday liquor sales?" I mean, it was just
a little
this
bit
whole
of a
paradigm.
debate. The Commerce
I
Chair
wouldn't
wasn't
construe it as
exactly-
little or no debate. I think there was a great deal of debate. You might not have seen as much as what was.
Oh, was that stuff happening behind the?
Now,
was that
careful.
dark
If
of
we're
the
gonna,
night.
it wasn't so much
It's dark of night, and
night.
you've got to stop that. That sounds like another bad fairy tale,
Okay, here's-
with all the other Mother Goose ones. In the
Okay.
dark of night.
Here we go.